everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today's video is super special to me because I have the opportunity to interview a really special guest. This special guest is the amazing author that I was paired to work with for the anthology that we're a part of, Because You Love to Hate Me, and that comes out in July. Side note, I tried to match the cover with my eye makeup, so I just played around with some purple eyeshadow and it looked like I gave myself a couple of black eyes. Luckily, I think this is like so overexposed right now that you can't really tell. But I digress. Without further ado, I'm going to let my special guest introduce herself, and also let's hear a little bit of what the story is actually about.
Hi Sophia, this is Sarah ENNI. I am an author, one of the contributors to Because You Love to Hate Me, the anthology all about villains. My story is called Blessing of Little Wants, and it was inspired by you. One of the prompts that Sophia gave me was, I think in particular, inspired by Voldemort. I looked at all of her amazing prompts, which each one was kind of like, ooh, like very exciting, and went for a run right after I got the email with all of the prompt choices. And in that 3 miles, the entire story kind of happened. It was really instant, and I was so excited to get started on it, and it ended up being like one of the most fun things that I've done so far in my writing career, so it was really great.
Yeah, so the main thing that I took away from that story was the fact that you can run 3 miles, because I can run maybe like 3 yards before I want to pass out. But anyway, so it seems like you had this really thorough initial idea, so I'm wondering, how different was your final draft from the initial idea?
This is kind of a tough question, because the final draft differed completely and also not at all from the original idea. I did get the list of prompts in an email while I was on a writing retreat and immediately went for a run, already thinking I knew I wanted to do the Voldemort prompt, and on that run the whole story mapped itself out for me. In fact, like 3 books mapped themselves out for me, but I knew the short story could be this one little part. So I wrote the short story and gave it to a few friends of mine to read, some really smart friends whose opinions I value. And one of them, Maureen Gu, who just came out with a book called I Believe in a Thing Called Love, had a really amazing editorial note. I don't want to give it away because it has to do with a bit of a twist at the end of the story, but she kind of said, you know, what if this, or what if this? And it really got my brain going, and I was like, A, Maureen, you're beautiful and so smart, and B, interestingly, one of the ideas for like a twist or a change, I'd already kind of planted the seeds for it all along the way. So even though it really changed the end, and I think it will really change how readers walk away feeling about my main character, Sigrid, I think it was already kind of in the works anyway. So it didn't mean I had to rewrite the whole story, which was great because I was on a deadline, but it did ultimately change the ending and what that meant for my main character.
Okay, side note, I literally just finished Maureen Gu's new book last night, and I adored it. You write with a group of really talented authors, I feel. Obviously yourself included. So you create a really cool world of magic with an impressive amount of development for a short story. So where did you draw your inspiration from when creating your magic system? And was it hard to not accidentally copy Harry Potter?
Well, let me think about it. Heck yes, I was worried about copying Harry Potter. It is almost impossible to write a magical story, a story that has magic in it in any conceivable way, and not be somehow copying Harry Potter, which I realized really quickly getting into it. J.K. Rowling, of course, is an incredible genius, but she also was insanely well researched, and honestly she incorporated almost all manner of magic in her books, from mythological examples of magic to occult to pagans to, I mean, just like everything. The woman's a genius. So I got started writing a magical story, and I said there's no way that I can avoid comparisons or avoid in some way feeling like I'm ripping off J.K. Rowling. So I decided for my magical system, magic is finite. There's only so much magic available in the world, and you can gain more magical power by being taught, learning, practicing magic. You can also lose magical power by forgetting, by falling out of practice, or by never being taught in the first place. So my main character, Sigrid, is in a school for magic where there is a percolating rumor that the people in charge of the school are conspiring to keep all of the magic for themselves. It was just a really different way to come at magic, and kind of gave the world different motivations, and was a different way to incorporate magic into my story. So hopefully that would be different enough, because listen, what am I going to try to be Harry Potter? Absolutely not. Not even close.
Being a part of this anthology made me think about villains in a way that I hadn't before, so did writing a piece for this anthology in any way change your perspective on villains?
Yes and no. I was really inspired by Sophia's choice to include Voldemort as one of her prompts. Voldemort, or someone who is seeking immortal life and all knowledge, they aren't inspired by revenge. You know, it's not sort of this foot in a human world inspiration for their evil acts. It's more like their burning desire, their sheer ambition, just kind of overrides any morality that may have ever been within them. That's really interesting to me. And so with my main character, Sigrid, I really came at it from a point of view of she is a young woman, she is incredibly talented magically, and she wants the world, and she knows how powerful she is. It was important to me that she be driven to this like villainous extent, at least in part, by the misogyny that she experiences around her and the feelings that she has about being an ambitious woman, and how sometimes in the face of being told no that many times, you not only want to persevere, but you want to persevere in maybe unkind, intense, burn it all down kind of ways. I felt like exploring the mindset of someone who is driven to acts of evil through that route was interesting and not something I'd seen done too many times, and something that was really relatable in a way that makes you kind of worried about yourself. Like, could I do evil just because I was so pissed at the world and the system I found myself in? So it didn't change my idea about villains, but maybe it gave me an opportunity to explore this other kind of villainy that I hadn't thought about at this length or depth before.
Okay, so were there any villains that you used as models or sources of inspiration for Sigrid?
Obviously there was Voldemort, which is a part and parcel with Sophia's prompt. But stick with me here. I have another inspiration that I want to share with you that's like not really a villain, but it is. It was the thing that was the single biggest inspiration for my short story. And it is a story about Russian hikers. They hiked a route called Dyatlov Pass. This is a crazy story. I'm going to try to tell it as quickly as I can. These 9 Russian hikers were teenagers. They were the equivalent of Eagle Scouts. They were incredibly talented, skilled hikers. They went on this very challenging many day hike. When they were supposed to arrive at their destination, they failed to arrive, so the authorities went to go search for them. What they found at Dyatlov Pass was the hikers' tent. It had been ripped open from the inside. Then they hunted and found the bodies of all 9 hikers. Some of them weren't wearing socks, pants. Some of them had fallen into a crevasse. One of them had soft tissue wounds, but there were no broken bones, so it was like they were squeezed. One of them had their tongue missing. So it's this really intense mystery. I had just been reading a lot about this because it's fascinating. So when I got this prompt and was thinking about villains, I knew I wanted the story to have something to do with this supernatural, unsolved mystery that would kind of be lingering in the collective consciousness of the culture within which Sigrid was rooted.
Classic obligatory writer question. What are you working on now?
Well, I'm actually working on my debut novel with Scholastic. It hasn't been officially announced yet, so I can't say very much about it, but it's a contemporary YA novel. Probably won't be next year, but it'll be soon. So look out for that. And I'm working on, I'm a writer. I'm working on 100 different things all at the same time. And of course, I'm also working on the First Draft podcast, where I interview young adult and middle grade writers. There are tons of amazing interviews with authors, almost every author that's contributed to this collection. So you can definitely keep tabs on what I'm doing there.
Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. I love YA contemporary so much. And I also love podcasts. Now I'm gonna hit you with some random rapid fire questions. First, obviously, we have hero or villain.
I'm gonna go off book and say anti-hero.
Okay. Touche. Next, vanilla or chocolate?
Get out of here. Chocolate. But actually, when I'm getting a milkshake, strawberry.
I love that you need more than 2 options. But coffee or tea?
I have no time for tea. It is flavored water. Fight me.
Wow, I am hurt. Hardcover or paperback?
I actually, controversially, love mass market paperbacks. I love thick books, gigantic thick door stoppers that are in crunch type with like the heavy serifs, like the tissue thin paper. Ooh, it's so nice. You buy it at the airport, it fits in your bag. I'm into it.
I kind of respect that. And finally, in keeping with this heroes villains theme, Marvel or DC?
Let's just say I was all ready to be like Marvel or GTFO, but Wonder Woman was amazing. That movie was incredible, and if DC takes tips from that movie and makes more choices about featuring women in that way and showing them to be strong and powerful people, then maybe I could get on board with DC. But right now, I'll say Marvel.
Alright, so that concludes this interview. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time and for being on my channel. I am so excited for people to get to read the story that you wrote for this anthology, but until that's out, where can they find you on the internet?
If you want to find me on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at Sarah ENNI, on Instagram at Sarah ENNI. The First Draft podcast, you can search your iTunes for First Draft with Sarah ENNI and find me there. You can also find First Draft Pod on Twitter, First Draft Pod on Instagram, SarahENNI.com, FirstDraftPod.com. Guys, I'm all over the internet. Come find me. Hang out.
Thanks so much again to Sarah ENNI for sharing her time with me and being on my channel. Because You Live to Hate Me comes out July 11th, 2017, and that is less than a month away. Like, I am freaking out. You can pre-order it now to get some extra goodies in the mail. All the info about that will be down in the pants along with Sarah's social media and my usual links. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll have a fantastic day and happy reading. Bye!
Mwah. You're the best.